Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at a nation that is constantly in the global spotlight, yet so often misunderstood, or, just completely oversimplified. We're talking about Iran. We are going to move right past the daily news cycle and use our source infographics to really unpack Iran's incredibly multifaceted identity. Let's dive right in. So, based on the source material, there are three core themes that are going to guide our entire journey today. We're looking at a nation defined by its ancient civilization, the absolute resilience of its people, and its undeniable strategic importance on the world stage. Think of these as the fundamental pillars of the Iranian identity. But before we get into the weeds, we really need to ground ourselves in the sheer human scale of what we're discussing. Roughly 90 million. That's the population of modern Iran today. So whenever we talk about this nation, we're not just talking about abstract concepts. We are talking about the lived realities and the deep heritage of 90 million individuals. Okay, here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, introducing modern Iran. 2, ancient roots and culture. 3, the people and their achievements. 4, economy and industry. And finally, 5, navigating geopolitical challenges. Starting right off with Section 1, introducing modern Iran, focusing on geography and governance. Let's get the essential stats down. Officially, it's named the Islamic Republic of Iran. The capital is the massive, bustling metropolis of Tehran, and the primary language spoken there is Persian or Farsi. Geographically, it's vast. Actually, to put a number on it, we're talking over 1.6 million square kilometers, which puts it right at this incredibly strategic crossroads in the Middle East. Politically, it functions as a theocratic Islamic republic, and it features a dual leadership structure with a supreme leader operating alongside an elected president. Moving right along to Section 2, ancient roots and culture, exploring a 3,000-year legacy. The history here is just incredibly deep. It's like a massive timeline that starts all the way back in 550 BC with the Achaemenid Empire, founded by Cyrus the Great. Then, moving through the Parthian and Sassanian empires, we hit a really massive shift in 1501 AD with the Safavid dynasty. That's when Shia Islam officially became the state religion. And then the timeline marches up through the Pahlavi dynasty, ultimately culminating in the 1979 Islamic Revolution, which established the modern republic we just talked about. And that historical pivot back in 1501, well, that directly sets the stage for the religious landscape we see today. The majority religion is Shia Islam for sure, but there's also a really diverse tapestry of minority religions living within the borders. That includes Sunni Islam, Christianity, Judaism, the Baha'i faith, and even the ancient Iranian religion of Zoroastrianism. All of this history flows directly into an incredibly vibrant Persian culture. It's a culture defined heavily by a profound love for the arts. We're talking poetry, literature, music, and calligraphy. Legendary poets like Hafez, Rumi, and Ferdowsi, they're still read daily. But a real crowning cultural jewel is Nowruz, the Persian New Year. Remarkably, this tradition of renewal has been celebrated continuously for over 3,000 years. Think about that for a second. Okay, on to Section 3, the people and achievements, focusing on resilience and innovation. When our sources describe the Iranian people, words like warm and hospitable come up constantly, alongside deeply rooted family values. But here is a really standout detail: education. Iran actually boasts one of the highest university enrollment rates in the entire world, and coupled with that intellect is a profound resilience. They have a proven historical ability to just endure and adapt through some pretty significant adversity. And this highly educated population is building on a remarkable legacy of innovation. On the ancient side of things, we have the Cyrus Cylinder, which is widely recognized as the world's first human rights charter, alongside some groundbreaking early advances in medicine and astronomy. Fast forward to today, and we see that exact same unbroken thread of scientific curiosity. Now it's manifesting in things like modern nanotechnology, nuclear science, and even space exploration. Let's pivot to Section 4, economy, science, and industry, the actual engines of Iran. The economy here is defined by this fascinating duality. On one hand, you have massive natural resources, oil, gas, and petrochemicals, forming the absolute backbone of their heavy industry. But running parallel to that is a deeply rich agricultural sector. They produce high-value, culturally significant exports like pistachios, saffron, dates, and caviar. So it's an economy that's pulling from both the depths of the earth and its highly fertile soils. Expanding on that base, their industrial portfolio is surprisingly broad. way beyond just oil, there's heavy automotive manufacturing, steel production, and mining. In the defense and tech sectors, they are actively producing drones and advancing aerospace technology. And in cutting-edge science, there are ongoing major advancements in nuclear technology, nanotechnology, and modern medicine. Which brings us to our final part. Section 5, Navigating Geopolitical Challenges and Perspectives on Conflict. Now, the source material provides a very specific framework here, listing 6 main reasons behind the wars and conflicts involving Iran. Number 1 is geopolitical interests, noting Iran's strategic location controlling vital global routes. 2 is economic competition, specifically citing its independence in oil and gas. 3 is its support for resistance groups. The source explicitly names Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, and the Popular Mobilization Forces here. 4 involves international concerns over its nuclear program. 5 points to a regime change agenda pushed by foreign countries. And 6 cites media propaganda shaping global public opinion. So this is the exact perspective presented by the source on why these deep tensions exist today.
The source also draws a really stark contrast between the heavy toll of these tensions and the nation's internal response. The impacts of war and international sanctions have resulted in severe economic hardships for ordinary people, literally directly affecting those 90 million individuals we talked about earlier, through massive inflation, unemployment, and critically, limited access to medicines. But conversely, the Iranian response has been a doubling down on a strategy of self-reliance. They focused on strengthening defense capabilities, building new alliances, and stubbornly pushing forward with scientific progress, despite the immense economic pressure.
Wrapping up this geopolitical analysis, the source material asserts that Iran ultimately just seeks respect, independence, and dignity. It argues that conflict happens when greed and arrogance prevail over dialogue, and their concluding message is actually quite clear. Peace is possible if justice prevails. And that brings us to the end of today's explainer. We have traced the lines all the way from Cyrus the Great to modern nanotechnology, from rich, ancient poetry to heavy industry, and we've examined the incredibly complex geopolitical web that Iran navigates today. So, I want to leave you with this question to ponder. How will Iran's deep, ancient resilience, a trait forged over 3,000 years of history, continue to shape its modern geopolitical future? Thank you so much for learning with me today. Keep asking questions, keep looking at the data, and I will see you in the next explainer.